Romney, please.
Thanks, you guys. Look, there's a chair. This way I can see you guys. Oh my goodness gracious. Look at this group. Thank you so much for being here this evening. You are really kind. Gosh, it's easy to get a book, but I guess the signature must be worth something. You know, it's just Mitt Romney here tonight. There's nobody else. I apologize. Now and then I get surprised by folks turning up to see me because I think they must be looking for somebody else. And that comes from a little experience I had after I lost my campaign for the presidency. Ann and I went to Beijing to go to the Olympic Games in China. And it was a real thrill. I went one day to one of my favorite events, women's beach volleyball. You've seen that on TV. And so we came a little late, and so we sat down in our seats. They were down very close to the field of play. And I noticed that as we came in, some Americans were in the audience because they were waving little American flags, and they started pointing at me and taking out their cameras. And I thought, boy, this is really something. They're taking my shot like this. And then some Chinese people, they saw the Americans, they started pointing, taking out their cameras. I thought, boy, my campaign has impacted people all the way here in China. And then I said to Ann, you know, you ought to sit up straight. They're taking our picture. And she goes like this. And I turn around, there's Kobe Bryant sitting behind me. So with all of you here tonight, I wonder, you must think there's somebody else coming, but I really appreciate your being here. Part of the Go Celtics, is that what you're saying? I'm as tall as a Celtic right now, all right, with this chair underneath me. You guys are great to be here. I want you to know that I'd really like you to read the book. I'd like you to, if you can't read the whole thing, because you got too much going on at home, or you know, you want to watch American Idol or whatever, read the last chapter. That happens to be my favorite. So read that, and it'll tell you something about the book. And then the epilogue. My wife said when she got finished, she said, you know, you say so many things in there, I wish you'd summarize it. So I wrote an epilogue and put in 64 just summary comments that are talked about in more detail. So you read those two things, you'll get a sense of where I am. The reason I wrote this book is that I've become very, very concerned that America has been put on a road to decline by Washington's politicians. And that unless we change course, that America could end up being eclipsed by another nation. And I'm not talking about France or Germany or England, nations that enjoy freedom to a great degree as we do, but I'm talking about nations like China or perhaps even Russia, resurgent given its energy resources. I'm concerned that America could end up being far less than we have been, and the consequences for the world, and particularly the consequences for us and for our kids and our grandkids, are hard to estimate because of the great powers in the world that are vying for leadership in the 21st century. There's only one that's based upon individual freedom, political freedom, economic freedom. That's us. China believes in authoritarian rule. Russia believes in authoritarian rule. The preservation of freedom in this land and in lands that we love around the world depends upon America being strong. And we're going to have to change our course if America is going to remain strong. So we got to fix the course of this great land. I sometimes think that the more liberal voices in Washington don't understand what it is that makes America such a great country. And I'll explain by just telling you a quick anecdote. Christmas time, I was shopping for my grandkids. I was at Walmart. I was pushing a shopping cart, and I happened to say to myself, you know, as I looked around that store, this store reminds me of Sam Walton, the founder of Walmart. Now, I'd never met him, but I read some stories about him. He was a guy that was just obsessed with low prices. He wanted to have low prices on everything people wanted to buy. He wasn't a highly organized guy. He was sort of, you know, impulsive. And you look at the store; it's not as organized as, let's say, a Borders or a Target. But boy, they believe in low prices. That store reminds me of Sam Walton. And I thought about businesses I've seen. They remind me of their founders. Microsoft reminds me of what I know about Bill Gates. Steve Jobs is perhaps reminiscent of his company, Apple. I was a boy, I met Walt Disney. Can you imagine that? I met him, shook his hand. And I've been to Disneyland. Disneyland is like the physical embodiment of Walt Disney's dreams. Imaginative, fantastic, childlike. Almost every enterprise I've seen in some respects reflects the culture of its founders. And what's true of businesses and schools and charities is also true of countries. Great nations, like ours, reflect their founders. Our founders had a very difficult choice to make. When this country was founded, the question that they faced was, would we follow the King of England with a strong central government that would provide a safety net for us given the great strength of the greatest nation on earth at that point, Great Britain? Or would we instead depart on our own and follow our own dreams and become an independent country? And they chose the latter. They said, we're going to let Americans not be guided by a central strong government, but instead be guided by their hearts. And we became a land of pioneers and innovators and creators. People came here from all over the world, immigrated to this country, because we were a country of pioneering and innovation and technology and ideas. That is the American spirit in our enterprise system, and the Washington politicians are smothering it. And we're not going to let them do it. We're going to preserve what America is. Some think that America has become a great nation because of our bounty and our geographic wealth, our rivers and streams, our resources, our oil, our energy, and so forth. Those have all been beneficial. But what makes America the great nation we are is the geography of the American heart. The people of this great land are what make this land the most powerful and respected land upon the face of the earth. We've got work to do to keep it that way. I hope you'll join with me in the effort. Read this book, support great candidates that you believe will make America strong and get us on the right track. Thanks so much, you guys. Love you. We're very proud to be here. Let's get to work signing a few books here. Thank you.